Following the COVID-19 pandemic, in 2021, a neighborhood in West Houston would be shocked to the core again. In a heartbreaking discovery, the Harris County Sheriff's Office revealed that an 8-year-old child was found deceased inside. Hello, everyone. Welcome back, and welcome if you're just now joining us for the first time. Today, we're going to cover the story of Kendrick Lee out of Houston, Texas. I don't want to take any more time with this intro. Let's go ahead and get into it. Likely having been deceased for up to a year, the grim scene unfolded as Harris County deputies responded to a distress call, discovering skeletal remains and 3 abandoned children. According to Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, investigators rushed to the apartment complex located in the 3535 block of Green Crest near Atkins and West Park Tollway. There, they were met with the devastating sight prompted by a call from a 15-year-old who disclosed that his 9-year-old sibling had been deceased for approximately a year within the shared apartment. A teenager further revealed to 911 dispatchers that their parents had been absent from the apartment for several months, leaving him and 2 living siblings behind. Deputies arrived to find skeletal remains consistent with the teenagers' accounts alongside the 3 boys, seamlessly abandoned inside. Late into Sunday night in March 2021, law enforcement located the mother of the children and her boyfriend, initiated interviews with them. The children, displaying signs of malnourishment, were promptly transported to the hospital for medical attention. During a news briefing, Sheriff Gonzalez expressed his shock and dismay at the situation, labeling it horrific as he witnessed the conditions in which the children, aged 15, 10, and 7, had been living. The eldest child appeared to have taken on the role of a caretaker to his younger siblings for an extended period. The remains of the 9-year-old boy were reportedly found openly within the apartment without concealment. Sheriff Gonzalez conveyed that the troubling notion that the children may have been present in the apartment while the body deteriorated. Authorities had responded to a welfare check at the unit, prompted by concerns of the children's well-being. It remains uncertain whether the children were attending school during this period. Neighbors disclosed that the apartment complex, City Park 11 at West Oak Apartments, had undergone inspections in recent months. However, management declined to address inquiries about the timing of the last inspection when approached by news and law enforcement, who were subsequently asked to leave the property. The 3 children are currently under the custody of the county as authorities navigate the complexity of this tragic situation. This was the initial story that was brought out in early 2021 when young Kendrick Lee was found deceased in his mom and stepfather's apartment. At that time, law enforcement had a good idea of whether or not the parents were involved. It was a matter of proving it to a court. It's not what you know or what you think you know, it's what you can prove. So, following that, more and more information came out. Along with that information, this is what followed. The 35-year-old mother and her 31-year-old boyfriend faced formal indictment for the alleged killing of her 8-year-old son and the abandonment of his 3 young brothers, who all were left to reside in the apartment alongside his skeletal remains for almost a year. Following a grand jury decision, Brian W. Coulter and Gloria Y. Williams were indicted on multiple felonies related to the death of Kendrick Lee and the subsequent suffering of his siblings, as reported by news affiliates in Houston. Initial arrests were made in October 2021, with Williams accused of turning a blind eye to the prolonged abuse inflicted upon her 4 sons by Coulter. Prosecutors believed that Coulter fatally assaulted young Kendrick around November 2020, after which the couple deserted the 3 surviving boys, aged 7, 10, and 15, in their Houston residence alongside Kendrick's deceased body while relocating to a neighboring apartment around March 2021. Allegedly, Williams arranged for monthly groceries to be delivered to the apartment housing her 3 surviving sons and Kendrick's corpse, maintaining the lease on the property to avoid suspicion. Authorities only became aware of the horrifying situation in October when the 15-year-old's sibling contacted police, disclosing the dire living conditions, including the presence of his deceased brother's body in the apartment. Williams purportedly knew about Kendrick's death as early as November 2020, but refrained from informing the authorities under Coulter's instruction and due to fear of imprisonment and losing custody of her remaining children. The Child Protective Services authorities stated, as per a report by a Chicago ABC affiliate covering the story. All 3 abandoned children, whose identities remained undisclosed due to their status as minors, allegedly suffered physical abuse. One of the children required facial reconstructive surgery after being discovered by authorities. ADLBL revealed that all 3 surviving children have been placed in foster care and are being kept together. Their older sister has reportedly resided with a relative for several years and is not involved in the legal proceedings against Coulter or Williams. At the time, Coulter's bond was set at $1 million by a state judge, while Williams' bond stands at $900,000. The ADA concluded her remarks by urging the public to remain vigilant for signs of distress in children. That's why it's so important, and we've been trying to get the message out. If you see something, say something. As she was quoted reportedly emphasizing, especially now during the COVID era when people are spending more time at home, it's crucial that individuals report any form of abuse they witness. End quote. So the indictments were made, bonds were placed. However, just because indictments are placed, it doesn't mean that you right as soon as you're arrested. So this stayed in limbo for about 3 years. And we just now, in April 2024, received news of the trial ongoing, and sentencing happened just this week. I wouldn't say that this is justice being served, because a young child was still lost. And for a reason seemingly still unknown. Was Coulter abused as a child? Was he just not caring because they weren't his own children? Or was he just that mean of a guy and had no regard for young Kendrick's life? In Houston, Texas, this week, justice finally caught up with Brian Coulter, who was convicted of capital murder for the tragic death of 8-year-old Kendrick Lee. Coulter, now 34, will spend his life behind bars, serving the sentence for his heinous crime. Despite pleading not guilty, Coulter faced the consequences as Judge Kelly Johnson of the 178th Harris County Criminal District Court swiftly delivered the verdict after a brief deliberation. Addressing Coulter directly, Judge Johnson described the case as the most horrific set of facts she had ever encountered. She expressed hope that the haunting memory of Kendrick and his brothers would follow him into prison. The surviving brothers of Kendrick, now aged 17, 12, and 9, bravely testified during the trial, revealing harrowing abuse they endured at the hands of Coulter. They recounted months of physical violence, describing how Coulter kicked, hit, and punched Kendrick, with the younger brothers also falling victim to his cruelty. The youngest brother, aged 9, recalled witnessing Coulter's brutal attack on Kendrick, using toys as weapons against him. The brothers also detailed their confinement in the locked bedroom, forced to endure unimaginable conditions. Tragically, Kendrick's body was discovered under a blanket, reduced to a skeleton, highlighting the extent of the neglect and abuse he suffered. His eldest brother, now 17, made a distress 911 phone call, revealing the appalling truth of their situation. Despite their ordeal, the brothers showed remarkable resilience, bravely facing Coulter in the court to seek justice for their brother Kendrick. Gloria Williams, the mother of the children, also faced charges relating to Kendrick's death. Although not charged with murder, she is accused of neglect and tampering with evidence. Throughout the trial, evidence surfaced of Williams' disturbing involvement, with text messages revealing her knowledge of Kendrick's deteriorating condition. The trial painted a grim picture of neglect and cruelty, with investigators describing the scene as one of the worst they had ever encountered. Coulter and Williams' callous actions resulted in the tragic loss of Kendrick's life, leaving a lasting impact on his brothers and the community they were in. As the trial came to a close, the memory of Kendrick serves as a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance and intervention in cases of abuse and neglect. As of today, the mother recently went up to court. They had their trials separately, and she is fighting to try and get her bond reduced. I think she should stay in there. She is just as much at fault, regardless of fear or not. Those are your children. A parent is supposed to fight tooth and nail, giving their own life to save who and what they brought into the world. I can't understand what goes through people's minds when I look and investigate these stories. It's unfathomable to me. I have children myself, and I couldn't imagine putting them through this situation or seeing this and not doing something about it. As a reminder, as we close out this story for today, just like ADA Bell said, if you see something, say something. Call it snitching if you want to, but at the end of the day, if I see somebody doing something to one of my loved ones, it's an eye for an eye for me. And so, see something, do something. See something, say something. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a comment down below. Tell us your thoughts. Also, if you haven't already, subscribe, like the video. It really helps. Thank you, everyone who has subscribed and who is following every video that we put out. We really appreciate the love. It does take a lot of time to not only investigate, but put the videos together. So we hope you enjoy them. So until next time, deuce.